Ooh, what's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to our new show, Kenpo Zone. And here we have my good friend, Master Friend
Hey
Vigoroux.
Frank, how you doing? How's everybody? It's so great to be in the first English edition today over our campus zone. It's so amazing to see everybody connecting today. Thank you, Frank. It's amazing. What's up, guys?
Thank you, my friend. It's good to be back in English. Yes, sir. We already had a couple of comments here. I'm
Oh
just
my goodness.
sharing on social media right now, but I want to say thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for being here, for supporting us, for supporting this channel, the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, and to all the martial arts community. Just to let you know that we are going to be doing this at least once a month. We're going to try to be doing this once a month. We already started in Spanish with the Latin community, but we want to share the good vibes and all the intricacies of Kempo and stuff with all of you guys. So it's an honor to be here with Maestro Frank Vigoroux. He is doing his thing, having a lot of success with his Kempo studio there in New Jersey. And we just really want to hear and connect and hear what you guys have to say. So please send us your comment, connect with us, because this is all about sharing, you know, good information about Kempo, about our passion, and of course, it's all about you guys. Frank.
Definitely, Frank. Once again, thank you so much. We got a lot of people that follow us, obviously, in Spanish. This is the first time we do both together in English. I think it's going to be a phenomenal time to share with the community. And one of the things that you and I, we spoke already about. Oh, sorry, about the culture of Campo, to have this community together and united, and not looking for lineage, patches, instructors. By the way, we're all coming from the same lineage, Parker, regardless. But most important is gathering together our community. We all deserve it. We deserve to live in peace and love and in common share. That's most important. That's why we're here together, to unite our community. And it really doesn't matter. Europe, North America, Canada, United States, Latin America. It really doesn't matter because we speak the same language, Kempo. That's something in common we all have. Yeah, Frank.
I agree. Like I said, it's all about you guys. We just want to share our passion. And actually, one of the things that Mr. Vigoroux and myself have talked about is about bringing Kempo to the next, or taking Kempo to the next level with all of you guys, of course. Meaning we need to do more promotion. We need to do more things together. We need to unite if we want Kempo to thrive and to become a better option in the market. Okay, we all know, all of us Kempo guys, we all know that Kempo, it's an amazing art, of course, because that's why we do it, right? Because we know of all the benefits that gives to the student, that gives to the practitioner. But a lot of people don't know that, right? Because we're not trend anymore. We have MMA, who's a trend. We have grappling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, who's a trend. And other sports, martial sports are trending right now. But Kempo should be trending. I believe that we can make that happen with the help of all of you guys, everybody that's watching and everybody who's a part of the community. And we also always talk about being positive, not talking badly about anybody, and just sharing, and stop criticizing our art. You know, that's what it's about, right? And to show, I mean, I have my own patch. Master Vigoroux has his own patch, and we still have this zone, right? It's our sanctuary, right? That we can share and just, expose our art and make it in a positive way, in a safe way, in a secure way, so to speak. And just, we want to share that. Maestro.
Absolutely. Yeah. that is something. Obviously, you and I we spoke recently about how much we pay attention to other successful arts in the martial art world, which is it's great. You know, when you see Jiu-Jitsu, Filipino Eskrima, Silat, and Krav Maga, many other. That's great. I mean, I love it, and I think truly respect every art. And I think every single one got a important value. But the problem is sometimes with the campo is in the community. We get so much attention. We got so much attention to something that it's not quite too relevant to Kempo. I think it's the time to explore the art, put the Kempo in the place that need it, and the place that Parker would love to see and see the community together. That's most important. I mean, the message here, hopefully, this could be the voice for not just our Latin community, but the rest of the world. Let's get united. It really doesn't matter what type of campo you do, how the technique and how you do the technique is important. It's getting campo. Let's get involved in campo, explore the campo, study the campo, and make the best of the art. I mean, obviously, when you see arts like jiu-jitsu, for example, which I love it. I actually I used to rent at my place for jiu-jitsu for quite some time. Actually, the guy found a place, which I want to say congratulate to Pablo Aviles from Brazil, from Rio, and amazing practitioner and beautiful art. I mean, it's very complete type of martial art, whatever. But you know, that is not something that the Kempo is we're looking for because the true study of Kempo it's definitely something else. It's not how we can take Kempo to the ground or how we can take Kempo with weapon, with knife, things like that. So it's more than that. I think that we should put more attention to our art because, I mean, this is, I'm not offense, but you don't see the jiu-jitsu doing Kempo. You know, it's all the other way around. So obviously, every art pay attention to the art and make the best with what they have, right? That's
Yes,
much, right?
I agree. I think we should focus on our uniqueness or and also our strong side, right? And of
Correct.
course, always be aware of what we need to work on, right? That's fine. That's why today we want to address our subject today is why Kempo is the ultimate striking art. Of course, that is our point of view, right? I just have to say this. It's our point of view because we are Kempoists. We are Kempo guys. We're Kempo practitioners, and we've been practicing. We've been at Kempo, in Kempo, and at Kempo for more than 30 plus, probably 40 plus years. So we have dedicated our lives, right? Like I said in the beginning, this is our passion. I know I can talk about myself, but I can also talk about my brother here. And it's our point of view, and we can back it up. That's what it's going to be about. Okay, we're going to say why is it that we think that Kempo is the ultimate striking art, and like you said, my good friend, if Kempo guys are looking at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to make their game better, so to speak, then we can also we can make them, you know, grapplers and so look into Kempo to make their game more rounded and better. Because
Right.
we have the striking platform of Kempo, I believe it is not only unique, I think it is the most complete striking platform that it's out there available for anybody to, if they, of course, if they train it correctly, right?
Absolutely. Like you said, sometimes we missing something we dress in some of our Spanish show, and we express one of the main definition about Kempo. Because when we said about, I mean, everybody has something important to say about. Don't get me wrong, something important to say about Kempo, and I guess every definition try to aiming to the same. And And you and I, Frank, we was very specific and what's the true definition of Kempo and everything start from there. And like you said, the platform that we use in Kempo is striking. Yeah, definitely, because the Kempo is in striking art, absolutely. And because that, so obviously, it's a very complete curriculum and type of program that cover all the aspect of and very dimensional how the striking works. Now, but by definition, American Kempo, it's no more than a rapid fire art, which means it's multiple directional strike and multiple targets as well. So that's it's something important to mention about Kempo because sometimes it's kind of like missing. I heard many good friends actually and a very dear and lovely guys and colleagues in the art that they said, you know, I need just one strike and more than enough. Well, I'm sorry, but if you think like that, so you gotta re-study your art and pay attention and reinforce everything again because the Kempo is not a single art. Everything works in a rapid fire action, so everything works all ultimate very simultaneously. So as we strike in, for example, poke in the eye, just to say something, I'm kicking the legs and elbowing and follow through with a punch. So everything works in a very dynamic and very devastating sequential action. So that's something that they need to pay attention to. And when you see that, obviously we need to pay attention to the method that make all this engine work in the right direction. So that's pretty much just as define what's truly what Kempo is, and to us, and more particular in my case, is a rapid fire action. Definitely, there's something that working in a very coordinated way in multiple direction, and that's one of the main idea of Kempo. And obviously, because that the way that Kempo explained as a system, it's sometimes very complex. Use a lot of science, obviously, because you need to, and everything is actually a very conceptual and theoretical type of art because you need to actually fit the aspect of Kempo. Right, Frank?
Agree. I think, let's see. One of the important things about, I mean, if you are a Kempo practitioner, if you have trained Kempo, even if you have only trained it for a while, you understand that Kempo is technique based, and of course we also do a lot of kata, but it's basically it's all about learning choreographed moves, right? Especially at the beginning, you have to learn the sequences, okay? And one of the things that I heard many times over the years is that choreograph doesn't work on the street, okay? Correct. And that's a misconception, okay? People should say, my choreograph moves don't work on the street, okay? If you're gonna talk, you better talk about yourself, okay? You cannot talk about somebody else. You don't know if the other person has trained, has paid his dues, so to speak, and has trained and put in the time and the effort to learn the sequence and to make it work, okay? Kempo, it's a proven art. It has been proved in battle, okay? And this is some information that we might not heard before. And it teaches you, like you said, and it's down there, it says multi-directional, three-dimensional, rapid fire at multiple targets, right? That's your, it's a very good definition. I think it's very accurate. And I also add to this that the path of the Kempo is that of mastery of time and space in self-defense.
Correct.
Okay. And how do you master time and how do you master space, right? It sounds like, oh, but it's actually, there's a science behind Kempo. And that's why we say it's the ultimate striking art, because there is a science behind of this. And one of the things our instructor, Grandmaster Larry Tatum, salute to Mr. Tatum, always says is that now, these days, Kempo, American Kempo, Ed Parker's Kempo, it's now influencing other arts via or by the principles of concepts of motion and movement. The principles of Kempo, now you hear to a coach or a different practitioner from other art, maybe even jiu-jitsu and stuff, you hear them talking about economy of motion, right? And you talk to them about the principles of power, and that's all Kempo. Mr. Parker was already teaching that back in the 60s and the 70s, okay? That's over 50, 60 years ago. And now it's like a normal thing to talk about. Okay, and that's the influence of Kempo, but people don't know this. Okay, and I think it's important that we share, okay, this knowledge. And like I said, the mastery of time comes from mastering timing of your movements in multidirectional, okay, rapid fire to multiple targets. Okay. And also the mastery of space comes from that multidirectional and three-dimensional motion that you talk about in your definition, right? So if you have that three-dimensional awareness and you know how to cancel the movements of the other, like we do in Kempo, and you know how to hit multiple targets at the same time. See, for example, one of the things that boxers will do, boxer will hit one strike at a time. Okay, even if they go really fast, because they're good at it. Okay, I'm not saying they're not. Okay, but they're still doing one strike at a time. Okay, so they go 1, 2, 3. Right? In Kempo, we give value to the opposite and to the reverse motion. So if we go in with a jab, we might come back with a finger eye poke at the same time that we're hitting with the right, and this doesn't come back here. It moves to the other, and you get into an orbit, right? Because you have that multidirectional motion. Okay, so it's not just straight line and maybe a hook or a circle. You can go here, come back here, and at the same time here hit boom. Okay, so you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strikes, while a boxer will only do 2 in the same in the same period of time. Absolutely. Right? So I think that's one of the things that makes Kempo the ultimate striking art. But before we continue, let me just, I don't know if you want to add something before.
No, go ahead. We can go to the gradings for people and then we come back again. So
we have a lot of comments already. So let's bring some of the comments. Okay. Scorch 1028. Hey, what's up? I am so happy that the Kinetic Dragon is back on YouTube. Thank you, my friend. I really enjoyed the Coffee and Martial Arts program when it was here. Okay, we're going to try to bring it back, but now we have this Kenpo Zone, which I think is phenomenal because I have my good friend here, Maestro Vigoroux, who is an expert in Kempo, and we got a lot of things to talk about that you guys might find interesting. So thank you so much.
Awesome.
Martin McGee, hi from Ireland, Eddie Cummins School of Kempo.
Hey, Martin.
Sorry. I'm still thinking Spanish. Okay. Claudio Coronado. Very nice regards from Chile. Thank you. Gracias.
Gracias, Claudio.
Abraham Rojas. Hola a los maestros, Frank. Blessings. Saludos aquí atento. Gracias. Saludos.
Saludos.
Para la gente que nos ve en español, when are we going live in Spanish, my friend?
We believe the 22nd, I believe, the next weekend or something like
next
that.
Weekend. Okay, we're gonna do it. Para la gente que nos ve en español, el sábado 25, perdón, el sábado 25 no puedo yo porque tengo seminario. Probablemente el primero de febrero ya estaremos en español. Okay, continuamos en español. Okay, so thank you so much. High guard is the best. Oh, he's asking, is high guard the best in boxing sparring? In boxing, you want to answer? Go.
No, real quick. I mean, it's all about perspective. I truly believe they're more devastating than others, but ultimately it's about the practitioner. I truly believe it's the person that get the courage at the moment to find the solution on the street. So it's all depend how tactical the practitioner become and how expert and how the level of abilities and skills being developed. And obviously boxing, it's one of the most devastating when it's coming to strikes. but there's so many others. So ultimately, I was said I won't marry with in some specific art, but I was said it's all depend also in the practitioner as well. That's my opinion about it.
I will also add to this: if you're just doing boxing and you're fighting with boxing rules, the high guard it's a good tool because you don't have to be aware of the waist down. You're just covering the upper body, so a high guard will work just fine when you're boxing, right? But if you're fighting, let's say a Thai boxer or a kickboxer, and they're adding kicks, then you're going to have to adapt your guard probably, and be aware of the lower attacks. Also, if you're fighting in an MMA, for example, if this is sport fighting, right, you're going to have to change your guard, especially if you have a good grappler in front of you or somebody who might want to take you down to the ground. You have your guard here, you're an open target down there. So it depends also in the environment and the situation. On the streets, you can use the high guard. Yes, you can if you have mastered it. But there are also other options that might be, like Frank here said, that might be, a better fit for the situation. Okay.
Right.
Sergio Díaz Gajardo dice, buenas tardes, Master. Saludos desde Chile. Saludos.
Sergio,
Thank you. Gracias. Jaime Jerez. Hola, maestros. Ustedes son la luz del Kempo a nivel mundial. Un abrazo desde Concepción, Chile. Ustedes la luz, mi estimado. Ánimo.
Gracias, Jaime.
Gracias. Okay, we keep with the salutes. Jose Pedro Cunayani, salute from Brazil. Maestro.
Obrigado.
Obrigado. José Miguel Ponce, saludos, maestro. Saludos.
Un abrazo.
Pablo Vázquez, saludos, maestrazos desde Chile.
Un abrazo, Pablo.
Del Mountain, American Kempo experienced a major boom after the release of the Perfect Weapon movie in 1991. Yes, agree. Unfortunately, problems with the movie studio derailed Jeff Speakman's career, which hurt Kempo promotion. It was not just that. I think we should add also the fact that when the movie came out, Mr. Parker just passed away, right? A couple of months, 2-3 months earlier than that was when Mr. Parker passed away. So that also affected, because it was a big project. It was I believe it was 3-film project that they had with Mr. Parker and Mr. Speakman. And it was going to be, of course, a good thing for Kempo, but, life or destiny or, the Almighty or whomever you believe in didn't want this to happen, so it didn't happen this way. But that doesn't mean this was what, 34 years ago, almost 34 years now. So I think now, why not think about making a new movie with a new
that would be awesome.
Young star of Kempo.
There's so many good talent now. Yeah. So many good talent. Yeah.
Maybe we can look for a 20-something-year-old kid, for us as a kid, of course, who looks good and who has good Kempo and
good Kempo, and good skills,
with a good story, right? I think Kempo would look amazing in today movie environment, right? Because movies have evolved a lot from the 90s until today. So let's think, I don't know, I'm thinking about some type of like John Wick type of action movie with a lot of Kempo.
Wow.
I think will look fantastic.
That would be phenomenal. You're so right, Frank. Yeah.
Some Kempo with some weapons, why not?
Yeah, I mean the technology, and the digital type of film that we have this day could be amazing type of movie. Yeah.
There's this Kempo gentleman. I don't know if you're familiar with him. I probably you are. Aaron Cohen.
Yes.
He's doing some interesting work, choreographing some moves on the internet. And he has done a couple of films, indie films or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe there are some people trying to do that, and I think it would be amazing if they could, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, Frank, real quick, one of the reason probably you saw right when Mr. Parker passed away, It was a break in a fraction in the American Kempo community, and obviously everybody start taking different part and different lineage and different version of Kempo that make absolutely affect a little bit in the unite of the community, and it drop obviously a little bit the 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 Kempo energy and affecting to everybody, and then plus other art came in the picture, so it kind of like affecting the popularity of American Kempo. But we're back, we're here, absolutely.
I think, like I said, there are good opportunities out there
Yeah,
to create something very interesting, and to bring attention or back to Kempo, or put Kempo back on on the mainstream,
the
make it a
mainstream.
trend. We could
Yeah,
also, now we have other tools like this, like social media. You can have somebody having a lot of success generating videos, or posting on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, Facebook, YouTube. We might have this type of hype. Uh, like I said, especially if we unite. One of the problems that I see a lot, and I'm sorry, but I think we need to address this, because it's a
yes,
problem. It's
it's a
like
problem.
when a Kempo guy posts something on social media, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, whatever, you get a lot of hate. Okay, and then haters. We understand that it's now a part of social media, and it's now a part of the internet. It's now a part of whatever, and that's fine. That's fine. You need to deal with the haters, right? Because it's also an indicator that you're doing good. The
Exactly.
problem is when the hate comes from the Kempo community itself. That's a problem. That is a problem, because you're getting, attacked, and this bad fire from your own community that should support you. Okay, if you don't like what the other guy is doing, then go and make a video yourself and promote it. Look for a way to add to Kempo, not to take away. Add, not subtract. Okay, I think that's really, really important. If we can work together, meaning we have respect for each other, and we all post, and nobody of us is attacking. I mean, if you got to say something about somebody else's technique, give him a private message. Yeah, but
Correct.
don't put it out there.
Correct.
Okay.
You're right. You're so right. Yeah. That is
It's,
something is so true that sometimes we don't know how to approach this. I mean, many times it's going to happen when we see on social media that any post, video, a picture that sometimes we don't like, or the one we don't share that way, or we don't do that way. Many people tend to, like you said, put in a public comments, opinion. Which, okay, we respect that, but it would be more nice if you have something to say negative or even positive, say in private, especially when you try to correct other people. That'll be nice. That actually, it was grow our community, put our community in the place they need it, and definitely the hate, it needs to be erased from the community. We need more love, more compassion, more understanding, more love,
more
and we
support.
always at Campo one love and more support. Absolutely, that's what we need. So, like you said, it's so true. When you have something to say, go in private. Go in private. Deal with that in private. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's okay. I mean, you have an opinion you want to share with the other person, send him a private message,
Mhm.
and maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a positive comment, or it's a good criticism. I don't know. Why not? Maybe the other person will learn from you. But if you just
Correct.
want to do it to take away attention from that person, you want to do it because of ego, or because of the wrong reasons, you're taking away of you're taking some subtracting attention as well, and reputation and respect out of Kempo. It's like shooting your own foot. Okay, bam.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
that's what you're
Absolutely.
doing, or
Right.
you're spitting up in the air. What's going to
Yeah.
happen?
It's going down. You're gonna get it back. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I think if you are a Kenpo master or a Kenpo professor or a Kenpo instructor, you're a black belt, an expert in the art, you should be an example of ethics, because you are, whether you're liking it or not, you are carrying the name of Kenpo. You are.
Correct.
You become an ambassador, especially if you put yourself out there in social media. Okay? And people will see your conduct, will see your actions, will judge you by what you put out there, because they don't know you. They just know what you're putting out there, and they might get the wrong impression of what you're actually were trying to say. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying look for the correct or the most assertive way of addressing things, always thinking of adding and multiplying into Kenpo instead of subtracting and dividing. Okay?
So true, Frank. So true. I think there's something, not like we want to address and tell you what to do, because that's just go with your experience, and we all adults, but ethic, I think ethic, it's something that it's kind of like missing in Kenpo, and it's just common sense. It's just common sense things. It's like give it respect who respect deserve. I mean, that's pretty much it. Just treat with respect. That's all it is. And I think that's one of the values that we teach in martial arts. We encourage the respect. We encourage discipline. And we encourage many other things, but respect is number one. And when you give it respect, that's what you get back. If it's not, at least you're teaching a lesson of respect. So ethic, I think it's one of the missing point in the Kenpo, I'll be more specific, and the Kenpo rules that's missing these days. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree with you, Frank.
And I also agree with you with it's just our opinion, right?
Right.
We're not the moral voice of Kenpo or anything like that. We're just making a respectful opinion and addressing what we think should be addressed. That's it. That's it. If you don't want to take our opinion, that's fine. We're not. It's okay, right? We just, like I said at the beginning, we want to make this positive. Okay. And why do I say this? If we go back into our subject, why Kenpo is the ultimate striking art, I say this because if we take attention away from Kenpo, we're not allowing people to realize or to see or to become aware that Kenpo is the ultimate striking art.
Correct.
Yeah. So
correct.
I think,
Frank.
I believe that Kenpo should be, for example, I believe that Kenpo should be a part of MMA, for example. I believe that an MMA fighter, if they learn the Kenpo principles and the Kenpo's way of striking, they will generate, they will devastate, and they could dominate in an MMA fight.
Absolutely.
Especially an athlete who has that type of physique, that type of training, because they're amazing athletes. Amazing athletes. But I believe that technique-wise, MMA hasn't reached their peak. There's a lot more that they can develop. I'm not taking anything away from them. I think they're ferocious and amazing fighters, but their technique can still, there's room for improvement. There is. Absolutely. Okay? Because we, especially when we see them striking, they're just 1, 2, 2, 2. So, for example, their fight, maybe a hand sword to the neck. Pow! All right? That's actually legal. But nobody has done that. I don't see anybody, boom, doing a strike here, and maybe an elbow. Right?
Right.
Or destroying the guard like we do by hitting the guard. Not just go for the head or the body. Also see the arms as targets, as we do in Kenpo. Right? So there's a lot of things that can still be done, and they can apply in an environment like the cage, also, of course, the street, but I mean, self-defense wise. But I think if we change our attitude and promote this and become even maybe a little bit more, I was going to say aggressive, but more, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Active?
Active, I guess. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And just show more.
Right.
I think.
Yeah. You know, Frank, just share something that complement what you said, which is absolutely right. One of the things that I see in in our community is because Kempo is not on a sport, number one. I mean, we got to start with that. You know, I always see sometime I compare Kempo with Aikido, right? You're never going to see Aikido compete in tournament or in the sport arena. And you know, that's something that I
I like
hope to
Aikido.
not, yeah, I hope to not creating any conflict here.
No, no, I like
I don't
Aikido.
want to
Go
be
ahead, my friend.
complicated
No,
here.
I think
Yeah,
it's good.
right. But I think sometimes because Campo's not on a sport, we got to start with that. Let's start with that. In order to add it into more competitive um, area, we always tend to create in a sport campo, which is actually it's not. And with that, we add in point fighting, for example, we got a sport karate forms because when we see the kempo forms in tournaments, I don't see kempo. What I see is some type of karate. If a good karate, traditional karate, will see kempo at that level, will will it will make any sense because it's not truly karate and it's not truly American Kempo from our point of view. So what it is a mix of many things. So when we take the sport, when we take Kempo to the sport aspect, we missing a lot. That's number one. And when we add in other art into Kempo, because we try to be competitive, but American Kempo, the nation of American Kempo, it's an art for, it's a warrior art and a warrior for combat, urban Kempo, combat. So definitely the how we understand about this art, it's made for the street. All right. So it's not a, for example, one of the things we do in Kempo, we kick in the groin, we kick in the knee, we elbows and the injury of the jaw, things like that. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do in the sport aspect. So that is something that it's kind of like missing, and we try to add into Kempo. But a Kempo, the nation of Kempo, is not in sport, and also something that make probably difficult sometimes and not popular as other martial arts is because the curriculum is a little bit more extensive. We got a regimen that it's got very well defined, where we very well structure the way we teach this art. So obviously, when you see others like, you know, I won't mention name, but I see other martial art, obviously they're more dynamic, probably they're more fun, probably. Everybody know what to do. You can get it immediately. You can engage easily. When you come to our Campo classes and you do a technique line, we spoke about this. Obviously, one of the things that make it complex is if you don't know the technique, you're not going to be able to play in the game with us. So definitely, you need some sort of training before get this way in Campo. And obviously, once again, back to what you said, Frank, the other art, it's a good mix for Kempo, probably, but let's put very straight. American Kempo is in a street type of martial art. We creating dynamic function for the street. It's not in a sport. Once again,
I
I
agree.
understand and I respect when people take for sport for competition. Okay, get it, but it's not for that. It's not meant to that. Right?
And that's the reason why I said that Kempo can give to the other environments instead of take.
Correct.
Okay. I think there's a lot of, I mean, if you take the time to explore an art with such, I'm going to use the word complex platform. I know it's not complicated. It's sophisticated simplicity. Yeah, whatever. It's still complex for example, a Taekwondo guy.
Right.
Right? If you take, I'm not taking anything away from Taekwondo, but they're
Of course.
more focused on, skill, maybe a karate guy as well. But if you try to understand Kempo, you need to understand about physics, you need to understand
Correct.
about angles, you need to understand about mathematics, you need to understand a lot of things, you need to understand about the street, how it works. Okay. So I think, yes, of course, because it's a combative art. Totally agree with you. And yes, I'm not a fan of the sport side either. You know that. But I think that if people take the opportunity to look into Kempo, they're going to see that there's this whole universe of striking in Kempo and motion and manipulation and all the things that you can do, with your hands and your feet and your whole body in a very sophisticated way, learning, that rapid fire, multi-directional type of movement that it could benefit anybody. That's what I'm trying to say. It could benefit anybody. So we have more questions and comments here.
Yep, go ahead.
Excellent. Is wrestling more important than Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? More important in which environment?
In which environment, correct.
If you're talking about MMA, I've heard, I'm not an expert in MMA, I'm not an expert in the case, but I've heard that you need both. Okay, and it makes sense to me. I would say if you're going to go into that type of mixed environment, then add. Okay, but if you're talking about the street, in the street, I will probably go more for wrestling than Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's just me. Okay, because wrestling will keep you low but on your feet, and you can take one down and go for the other guy. And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu will take you to the ground, and on the streets, you don't want to go to the ground. I'm sorry, you just don't want. It's not a good strategy. I don't care what people say, it's not. I've seen a lot of people get kicked and devastated when they go to the floor by not the guy who take them to the floor, but all the buddies.
Yeah. Correct. Yep.
The friends or the girlfriend or just somebody who was walking by. I say, oh, somebody, bam, just kicks. Okay, that happens here. I live in Mexico, and here violence. You don't want to go to the ground.
Right.
You don't even want to fight.
Even jiu-jitsu guys said that they don't want to be on the ground. Nobody wants to be on the ground.
And you don't even want to fight here. You just don't want to fight, right? But if you do, and you have to defend yourself, the last place you want to be at, it's on the ground.
You want to be on the ground.
Yeah, you don't want to do that, okay? Because you're probably going to have to deal with multiple opponents, and that's where a rapid fire, multi-directional and multi-dimensional striking art like Kempo will thrive. When you have to fight 2, 3, even 4 opponents, Kempo is designed very well to do that. And I don't care what people, you cannot fight 2 or 3 opponents. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Because on the street, you're not going to say to the person, look, I only know how to defend myself against one. So please get into line up. There's 5 of you. Okay, line behind. See, make a line, and then I'm going to fight each one of you at a time. Okay, so who goes first? Well, that's just, it doesn't work that way, right? So if they want to attack you and they want to overpower you, they're going to try to come. If it's 3 of them, they're going to try to attack you, the 3 of them, probably at the same time, or they're going to push somebody and then they're going to go for the other. There are different dynamics that happens on the street. If you've been in a street fight, you know that it's never one-on-one. Even if you're lucky enough to go one-on-one, you still have to be aware of the friend or the other person walking by. So, William Herrera, saludos from Guatemala, saludos.
Hello, William.
Montasser Newer, salute to all.
Montasser, brother, many blessings, Habibi.
Big hug.
Big hug, brother. Likewise.
Thank you, sir. You're the man. Karina Salvo, buenas tardes.
Hola, Karina.
Saludos, maestros.
Saludos para ti.
Gracias, saludos. Rafael Herrera, un gran saludo desde España, Andalucía, maestros.
Rafael, un abrazo.
Gracias, saludos, Rafael. Ok, Darwin Castellar. Ok, Darwin Castellar. Muchas bendiciones y éxitos. Gracias, saludos. Cada clase que imparten nos dejan aprendizaje. Salud from Venezuela. Saludos. Gracias.
Qué bueno.
Mendoza Blanco Asdrúbal, saludos. ABKK Internacional Perú, from Perú, thank you, gracias.
Saludos.
Omar Tesic, ¿cómo estás, Sensei? ¿Cómo está la vida? Que Dios me lo bendiga. What's up? Keep up the beautiful work.
Awesome.
What's up? Okay, M asks, can a high guard still block body shots with elbows if positioned correctly? Probably. Um, but if you're in the elbow distance, if you have a high guard, you better move and start striking. Don't just stand there and try to block the elbows. Just do some hitting, right, Frank?
Yeah, no, that's something that that's one. It's the system teach. It's maneuvers and theory of motion, like for example, reverse motion, return motion, all those things that those lessons really help in order to apply when you need it in a very tactical way. And like for example, the elbows, obviously, you can travel back and forth in different dimension, and the elbow could be a very good way. Now, when you're blocking down below, for example, obviously, you need to extend your elbow, turn into what? A dangle block or parry. So obviously, when you really truly learn the Kempo lessons and you see the dimension, obviously you're very ready to apply in any circumstances. Elbow, they're very good tools, absolutely amazing weapon, and as a defense, it's ultimate. The one of the best is very strong and very accurate if you know how to use it well, and definitely back and forth and working in dimension, diagonally upward, different angle, different direction. Definitely you got so much that you can do with the elbows. Absolutely. Yeah.
Also, if the guy is in a high guard and you are a Kempo expert, you're going to be able, if you're close enough, you're going to be able to, like even attack the guard or just pull the guard down and bring that elbow, whap, right? And like I said, since in Kempo we are experts of not just forward motion, but also reverse motion and opposite motion, right? And we do that simultaneously.
Correct.
It's going to be very hard for somebody in a high guard to block a Kempo guy who's close.
Right.
They're going to have a big trouble if they're not striking and they're just trying to protect. I'm going to share something here. Yeah, I have to do this. Yes, of course. Okay, so in ancient times, right? In ancient times, Kempo was known as the art of the 1,000 true hands, okay? Or 1,000 true hands art, meaning in Kempo, we have 1,000 hands, okay? Or we have infinite ways of use our hands and feet. In ancient times, saying that the number 1,000 meant like, beyond count. Thousands was like, woo. If you say 10, it's a number that you can understand. If you say 100, that's a big number already. That's like 100 push-ups or 100, right? That's mastery. But if you say 1,000, was like, wow, okay, that was a big number. So 1,000 hands or 1,000 true hands will mean that you have 1,000 ways to devastate the person with your hands and your feet. Okay, so if you're close to a Kempo guy who has mastered this type of motion, so you're gonna have the guy trapping the guard at the same time who's hitting the guard. If you're using sophisticated basics, for example, you're hitting the guard and hitting the face, and you're also hitting it on the way back, and you're hitting with the other hand, and you're probably sweeping or trusting sweeping or kicking the leg with one leg or buckling the other leg. And at the same time, you're doing multiple strikes. So we have full body Kempo, right? Both hand and both feet working simultaneously in multi-directional, multi-planes, multi-dimension, rapid fire. And it's gonna be overwhelming for the person who's just with the guard up. There's no way with two hands that you're gonna be able to protect yourself against 1,000 hands. Okay, Absolutely. And that's the nature of Kempo. That's why I wanted to share this. Okay, so if I hope that answers the question a little bit. Okay, we have more comments. You want me to bring more of the comments?
Yeah, go ahead, Frank. Absolutely.
Okay. Can a high guard still? Okay. Beltran Cardona, amazing program. Very happy to see you in English. Salute for the two Frank, greeting from Venezuela. Thank you,
Beltran, sir. Un abrazo, hermano.
Dice, gracias. Thank you, gracias. Thank you, Alejandro Vargas Lugo, all the best. All to you both, best from LA. All the best to you both from LA. Okay.
There you go, Alejandro. Big hug. Something like that, right? Something like
Oh,
that.
he was crossing words, so thank you for the puzzle. Saludos, salud, my friend. Sifu Ernesto Colbrenner, saludos, maestros from Santa Fe, Argentina.
Argentina, Ernesto, un abrazo.
Ok. Elvin Navarro, gracias por sacarnos de la oscuridad con esa luz del Kempo. Muchas bendiciones. Micael American Kempo desde Honduras. Gracias.
Gracias, Elvin. Wow, qué bonito mensaje. Muchas gracias.
Scott James Southwell, the man. Hello, my two friend. Hello.
All the way to Canada, Scott.
It was good to see you at that Zoom seminar with Mr. Tatum. Thank you for the invitation. It was an honor. And keep up the good work, my friend.
Yeah, we couldn't be there because I was teaching a seminar the same day, but definitely.
I heard. Yeah, I saw that. How was that, by the way?
It was very good, actually. We got David Pantano, Caramia. It was absolutely outstanding. So it was great energy, good people. We did a good time. Yeah, we got a blast. We did it very good. Yeah, very
excellent.
Happy.
Ismael Ibrahim Maldonado. Hello, Masters. Hello, my friend.
Un abrazo.
Magazine Retriever says the classic videos of Dr. John Latourette feature him performing Kempo strikes at blinding speed. We could use something like that in a movie today. Good, yes.
That could be good. That could be something.
Yes, agree.
Not? Absolutely.
I think it will look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Norman Jensen, respect from Florida. I watched as Mr. Vigoroux took his last rank test. I believe that it was that we as martial arts have different ways that we express our Kempo. Mr. Vigoroux is smooth in his expression like a Kung Fu practitioner. Very impressive. I like that.
Sir. Thank you, Norman. Thank you so much, sir.
Salud, sir. Good to hear from you.
Thank you, sir.
High regards. Scorch 1028 says, many years ago, I saw a Kempo fighter win a pit fight tournament. I'm not saying that pit fighting is good, but the fight I saw illustrate how effective Kempo can be.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Nice. That's for sure.
Okay. Ismael dice, yo opino igual, Master Frank, casi todos los kempoístas de un grado intermedio ya son peligrosos peleadores por la esencia del sistema. En sí, un sistema que simultáneamente entrena todo lo contenido, el contenido humano y marcial del sujeto, y esto sumado a los conceptos y principios logra un atleta mucho más inteligente y completo. El asunto es completarlo con un entrenamiento físico de altísimo nivel de defensa, resistencia y práctica diaria de drills de Kempo y grappling. Saludos, estimado Master. Gracias, saludos. Wow. Okay, he just added, agree with what you just said, being Kempo, a good art if you train it properly.
Absolutely.
Okay. It was a little bit longer, but that's basically what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a quick
William Lujano dice, cónchale, pero hablen también en castellano o español. Traducir lo que dicen, maestros, con mucho respeto para toda generación. Ok, el programa en español lo hacemos. Hoy no es. Lo hacemos, hemos estado transmitiendo 2 veces al mes, mi estimado, y vamos a continuar, pero hoy le toca a English speakers. Así que una disculpita.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I heard wrestling helps MMA fighter. Thank you. On the street, it's better. It's still okay. Excellent.
Yeah, definitely. I heard that too. Yeah. Wrestler.
Kim Do, Master Frank Soto, spot on. Thank you. Salud, my friend.
Nice.
William Herrera, la lucha y el jiu-jitsu son muy buenos. Uniéndolos en Kempo sería excelente. I guess, yeah, you can unite them. Why not? I think you don't have to, okay? I'm also going to share something here. I got to say something. Okay. In the early days, when Kempo and Jiu-Jitsu were created back in medieval Japan, because Kempo comes from Japan, prior to that was Shanfa in China, and prior to that was another art in ancient India. Okay, so if you were a Kempo practitioner, a Kempoka, you didn't have to learn all of the Jiu-Jitsu stuff or Jiu-Jitsu stuff. You didn't. But you took a little bit like a crash course, okay? And that's what I would suggest. Understand how Newasa works and how takedown works, so you can defend yourself from them. Okay, and if you go to the ground, don't be in an environment that you don't know what to do. Okay, so you know the basic stuff, and you know how to get away from a grappler, an expert in the soft art, okay, in jiu-jitsu, and how to get back up. Because as a Kempo or a Kempoist or a Kempoka or a Kempo practitioner, you don't want to be on the ground, because they also had that understanding that if you go to the ground, you're going to die. And especially in medieval Japan, when they carry weapons and knives and naginatas and all these types of weapons, you go to the ground, you're dead.
Correct.
Okay? So, but they still had to address it, because you always need to have an option for all possible situations. That was the way they taught and the way they learned and understood the combative arts, the taijutsu. Okay?
Correct.
So if you're a Kempo guy, just learn about the ground and how to take your Kempo abilities to the ground instead of trying to learn another art. Learning another art can overload your mind. Okay, that's why if you see MMA, they don't learn 3-4 different arts. That's not true.
Correct.
They learn a piece of these and a piece of that and a piece of that, and they create their own specific way of addressing the sports rules of the cage, the fighting rules. But they're not an expert in Muay Thai, and they're not an expert in Taekwondo, and they're not an expert in wrestling, and they might be an expert of one art and then add other arts. That can happen. But usually now fighters, they're not an expert, but just the cage. And they have a little bit of Muay Thai, and they have a little bit of, grappling, and they have a little of wrestling, and they create this small system that makes sense for them. Because if they overload their minds with options, Hicks' law will jump in. Too many options, confusion, it will slow you down. Okay, so if you're a Kempo guy and you already have this platform, huge platform of knowledge, and you want to add jiu-jitsu, and then you want to add this, and you want to add that, it will bring confusion.
Yeah.
That's why if you see Kempo or striking, the same platform that we have, we add weapons to it. But it's the same type of motion, the same techniques. You're just adding knives, you're adding sticks, you're adding weapons to the way you already move. So the other thing, and this, I didn't understand this well, even though my instructor told me, but I did explore. For example, I wanted to add Cali or Arnis or Filipino arts into Kempo. And this, yes, they're compatible because they have similar origins, but that's a conversation for another time.
Right.
But if you add Filipino art into Kempo art, you're also adding confusion.
Correct.
If you want to use weapons properly with your Kempo, add the weapon to your Kempo. Make your Kempo work with weapons. It will be much better because you're not adding to you have a map here in your brain, in your mind. You have a map of the way you move, and it has to be logical. And that's one of the things that Kempo has that makes him an ultimate striking art. The way it generates that map and that understanding in your head, and you can convey it to your body. Okay? Anything you want to add, my friend?
Yeah, I think we got a really big issue in Kempo that the Kempo practitioner haven't really be convinced in their own art. Number one, I see it's a lot of doubt in the art. If you doubt your art, you got to be careful. If you don't believe in your art, you're on the wrong art. Okay, that's number one. I think it's something that it's a serious problem that happened in Kempo so today jiu-jitsu, what's going to be tomorrow, right? I remember early in the 90s was they adding Filipino Eskrima, Samsila, Karambi, etc., etc. Okay, that's great. Don't get me wrong, that's great art. But what's going to be next after maybe 10 years, 20 years from now? What's going to be the next thing you're going to add it to Kempo? You don't need to. I feel like the Kempo community need to concentrate develop the art. What I see today, we got more technology, we got more way to see all the things, we got all the social media, we got internet today, we got all the technology, so we see all the things today. You want to know what's going on in Africa or in Australia, you just pick your phone and you can be connected with the rest of the world. Okay, that's great. It's a blessing. Now the curse is we have no time to really concentrate and develop our art. And I think that's when you see, for example, a good footage from early 80s, early 70s, I truly believe the Kempo was even better than today. Why? Because they concentrate in the art. They really process very well this art. They really develop. They got the time to improve and perfect the art. Today, we look at so many other things. So guess what? At the end of the day, you're not a good jiu-jitsu, you're not a good Kempoist, you're not a good boxer, you're not a good this, you're not a good that, because you're concentrating so many. So what we try to do today, we try to combine and mix all this art together. It doesn't work that way, all right? Because every art got different nature. And that's one of the things that I'm very convinced about Kempo. Kempo, the most devastating, if you're training well, definitely this is called something else. One of the things I want to say real quick, Frank, and when you see Kempo, why we came out with this idea, the rapid fire and multiple strike and multiple direction. When you see, for example, the Japanese karate, MP kata, and the Japanese karate, what you see there is the nature of the art. When I see MP kata, I can see how that specific type of karate works. When I see Long Form 4 in American Kempo, which is the full expression, is the folklore of Kempo. When I see Long Form 4, I can see exactly how American Kempo works, all right? You see a technique like, for example, protecting Fang, even Dari leaves. You see those techniques that work in simultaneous. I'm going to get up real quick, just I want to express real quick with my body this part.
Yes, yes.
Frank, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
When you see a Long Form 4, right, and you go in this part over here, what you see there is you see blocking, parry, striking, and kicking, right, and then go to the next one. So you move here, right, and when you see that, something like that, I'm sorry, when you see something like that, you see a multiple direction art, multiple strike, and you see, there you go, I'm sorry. So you see the motion, it's go in different areas. So as I checking, I poking, I kicking at the same time. So that give me a sense, give me an idea how American Kempo works. So that's something to rescue in this conversation today, that we need to concentrate, we need to develop and training in that regard. I think that's something missing. Instead, and pay attention to other things. I never see, I don't know if all the jiu-jitsu, if you can connect into this conversation today, I never see any jiu-jitsu crossing over Kempo. I never see other jiu-jitsu crossing other art. Not they don't care, they respect, but they're so focused to training in the art, they're so diligent, they truly believe in what they do, they don't need nothing else. But in Kempo, we doubt. Why? Because we have an ultimate training in taking this to the next level. And when we say taking Kempo to the next level, it's not like Kempo himself is moving up there. Kempo's already there. It's a matter of working and travel in that path, going to the next level. So the practitioner, the instructor need to aim at information. Okay, when we said this, I want to stop here, but when we said this and we heard Kempo, the most scientific martial art, is the most devastating martial art, and so on, what we try to say. But and then when we do, we doubt the definition. So my point here is sometimes we concentrate so much on the sign aspect that we're missing where we go with that. All right. So we try to take every lesson in the most scientific way, in the more complementing information as much as possible, and we grow in that, but we don't see where we go with that, and that is a problem. And That's why, as a Kenpo zone, as a Kenpo culture, we need to aim at this. Forget about the other arts. We all respect. Forget about jiu-jitsu. Forget about any other art. Let's concentrate here. I think that is the Kenpo community today. It's missing. Where we going? It's missing. We okay. If you take a Kenpo to a level, you don't need jiu-jitsu because we understand how to lock, how to manipulate, how to take Kenpo to the 4th-stage manipulation contact. So you don't need other art to defend yourself on the street, on the floor, for example, just to say. I'm not saying we're better, no, just to say to defend yourself in a particular regard. So what I truly believe, ultimate, it's we must need to focus in the art and our curriculum and our program. And from there, take the curriculum to the stage to start improving. Remember, every technique, it's not quite a self-defense for the street. Every technique is a case of thought motion that prepare us to develop good skills and ability. I think that is something that here is missing. I too believe in Kempo. I want to die in this art. I really love Kempo. I've been doing Kempo almost 40 plus years now, and I truly believe this art doesn't need anything else because this art, it's made for a very dangerous environment. Kempo is ready to be in place for very dangerous environment. That's why you need to be precise in the training and be precise in the methodology where you go there. So I think that is ultimately what Kenpo practitioner need to focus on. It's instead of looking around, looking and see and training what you guys got already in your hands. That's the only thing I want to say, Frank.
Nice, nice. Well, there's an old saying that we have here in Mexico that goes like this: apprentice of everything, master of nothing. Right?
Correct. Yeah.
So if you want to learn everything and you don't focus, you're not going to master anything. So that's why you specialize. So in Kempo, we specialize in what? Striking art. Multiple, there it is, multidirectional, 3-dimensional, rapid fire at multiple targets. So we specialize in rapid fire to multiple targets, okay?
Correct.
And we're also specialized on the mastery of time and space in self-defense, okay?
Right.
Also in street fighting, right? So that being said, I'm also gonna do
yes, please, sir.
Okay. So one of the things we're talking about the ultimate striking art, right? So Frank was already saying that you have all this. He was moving and doing all this sophisticated motion that you have when you're doing that form 4, for example. Okay. So, like I said, if you're close to that opponent, also you have that contact manipulation stage that you were talking about. And you have all this striking. So you have multiple targets. Okay. So you have the eyes, the jaw, you have the clavicle, the shoulders, the ribs, the groin area, all those multiple targets, the temple, the back of the head, okay? All those multiple targets that are available for you that you can reach and hit simultaneously when you start, okay? And also the power, the devastation that you generate with Kempo, you don't generate that with Jiu-Jitsu, for example. Jiu-Jitsu is about control, which is amazing. But Kempo is about devastating, overwhelming your opponent with that multiple strike. So when you start accelerating your movements and working with that timing that we always talk about, right? So what? Okay, so that's just gonna break. Okay, and people think that we're not doing much, but once you get hit by someone who has mastered their Kempo ability, and they hit you once, and they're adding those power principles, then you're going to feel what Kempo is about, and you're going to become a believer. That's all I have to say. That's why there's an old Kempo saying that Mr. Parker, the founder of American Kempo, used to say, to hear is to doubt, to see is to be deceived, but to feel is to believe.
Believe, correct.
right? So
Correct.
we have
Absolutely.
more comments here.
Go ahead.
Good. Where was I? Okay, we have a lot of comments here.
Oh, awesome.
Let's see. Hay muchas fórmulas de formular técnicas de Kempo con Jiu-Jitsu. Sure. Iván Aburto, saludos y un buen año que comienza para ambos. Kempo Karate con Chile, gracias, saludos.
Gracias, Iván, un abrazo.
Saludos. Ismael Ibrahim dice, excellent, the art of 1,000 hands, Kempo. Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
The art of 1,000 hands.
Ishmael, that's right. Well, that is Arabic. All right.
That's cool. Thank you. Beltran Cardona, can you show us a rapid fire technique?
Good. That's a good one, right? Because everything is working in the regard. Everything is.
Frank is going to show us a rapid fire technique. Come on, my friend.
Well, I mean, even starting from the very beginning, you don't have to make any extension because you might probably extension, but the lace sword, it's a good beginning. I mean, the lace sword, what the concept of the lace sword is teach you, when you go by numbers, you anchor, you blocking, some people that's from here, okay, it's all right. And then the stepping back to creating this, then the pivot, the kicking, and then the hand sword. One of the things that it's very important, and we teach from the very beginning, don't get me wrong, this is not an information we teach for, move from here, this is something touching my computer, there you go. So there's nothing that we don't teach to our beginners, and then we move the information very progressive in the way we administrate it. So when we teach, for example, the lace sword, they're not much different from the extension and third degree black belt for set, right? So when we do the lace sword, once again, we're not expecting to do the pin and check, the inward block, the stepping back, the cat stance, the front kick, and the hand sword. We teach our student, we break it down by the number that way, but when we add it together in a dynamic way, there are three things happen. Number one, you're stepping back. Number two, the cat stance is you pivot. You're checking and you pivot, controlling, and the blocking and the kicking. All those things need to happen at the same time. When you're doing a circular motion in a singular way, obviously you're striking, but you empower your opponent in another. So as I'm striking hard over here, my opponent is empowered and maybe in another dimension on the other side of his body. So we got to be very, very aware about that. So the first move when I say rapid fire is this, all right? That is a rapid fire. That's this one of my yellow belt can do with no problem. So what it is, you stepping back in the beginning, you pin and check, and you kick. So when you kicking and the blocking, those happen together. That's the nature of Kempo. It's not 1-2. We teach by the number, we execute it in patterns. Once again, we teach by the number 1, 2, 3. We execute it by pattern. What pattern means, Kempo is not a singular art. Kempo is a plural art. So we teach in pattern. We teach in minimum 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes we, as much you advance in the art, you add in the numbers together. So in the first part, as you blocking, you kicking. That's what happened in the lace sword. When I'm kicking down here, I'm blocking here. So I'm going to do diagonally. So when I'm kicking here, I'm blocking here. All right. Obviously, when I want to put it in the front again, when I landing at the hand sword. So I got 1, 2, which is 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 at once. And when I landing, I striking. Once again, one of the things I finish here. One of the other things I do is we never travel the way we're executing. I call functional basics. Functional basics is the type of basics that got some specific function in the structure. So the function here is traveling in a different path. But when I settle, for example, autodefensor is horizontal, but I don't travel that way because I slow the process. It's a good catching weapon and something, it's an active weapon. So you don't want to come in this way when this weapon is very active. The way I travel, instead of going in a horizontal plane, I go in a very straight line. But obviously, when I settle in horizontal diagonally right in the target. So it's not a sophisticated basic. A sophisticated basic means there's something that could be using for two purposes. For example, when you're doing a block, you can turn a vertical punch, right? So you're using for block and for strike. That is sophisticated basics. Functional basics is the one you travel different the way you execute it, all right? With that in mind, this is a lesson for my white belt. This is nothing advanced. This is my white belt coming in his first class. So we go here, stepping back, pin and check, and the pin and check turn into check. So as I is moving, see, it's go, and I kick it, and then settle down, and a hand sword. Remember, if you teach the lesson well, they don't know any better. So I prefer teaching something that progressively they're going to start moving in the same type of information and develop the information to the next level. So that is, from the very beginning, our upper fight techniques. Frank?
Excellent. Okay, we have more comments here. Thank you.
Sure.
Let's see. Ismael, a blue belt in jiu-jitsu is good. Not enough, but it's good. Okay.
He loves jiu-jitsu. You haven't stopped with the topic. Hey, brother, we're
guys,
in Kenpo Zone.
let's just say, guys, you can do whatever you want. Okay, we're just giving our opinions, and of course, we're talking about the ultimate striking art. We're not talking about the ultimate grappling art. Okay, we're talking about the ultimate striking art. Okay.
How we should explain? We love you, brother. God bless you, man.
I greatly appreciate your advice and knowledge. Adios. Gracias.
Gracias, amigo.
Viva el Kempo. Viva. Saludos. Scott James Sadwell says, I totally agree with becoming good with Kempo first before starting another. Unfortunately, many end up sucking at a few arts, then becoming good at one. Just my opinion, of course. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dale Mountain says, yes, in the U.S. we say that someone is a jack of all trades and a master of none. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. A jack of all trades and a master of none. Yes, there you go.
That's right.
There you go. Yes, yes. I've heard that one. Yes, of course. That's the one. Cynthia Menendez, congratulations. Greeting from Guatemala. Teachers Frank and Frank. Gracias.
Cynthia, un abrazo.
Ismail Ibrahim, attacking mace, excellent example of rapid fire. All the techniques are excellent example of rapid fire, my friend. Yes, thank you.
It was yes. By the way.
Yeah, of course, but the other ones, they're all good.
Yeah, all they got the same ingredient. Absolutely. Yeah.
Marcelo Veloso, buenas tardes, saludos from Chile, saludos.
Gracias, Marcelo, un abrazo. Chilito.
Kai Shawn, they said, just one question. Why have none of these traditional arts been successful in the mixed martial arts competition? Okay, I do not mean to be disrespectful, and I am very interested in Kempo. I am a current student of traditional arts like Kaju Kempo and Taekwondo. I understand takes what's useful and what's not in an actual fight or karate or MMA competition. My martial arts background is JKD, Taekwondo, Muay Thai, boxing, BJJ, the Pit, Hawaiian Kempo with Achilles Krima. Okay. Let me just answer this fast. Kempo has been successful in the MMA. Just think of the Iceman, Chuck Liddell, Kempo guy from the Pit, actually. Okay, and John Jones, his instructor, his coach, it's a Kempo guy. That's why he uses the thrust. They call it the oblique quick kick. It's a thrusting sweep kick. It's a Kempo kick. Okay, so yes, Kempo it's being successful, but like Mr. Vigoroux said, Kempo is not created for the cage. It's created for the street. It's a combative art. And in the streets, Kempo, it's way more effective than MMA, than BJJ. Sorry, it is way more effective because it's created for that. And it's way better than another art. Now, Why is it that a Kempo guy is not interested in going into the cage? I can talk about myself. I don't care about the cage. And I don't care about sharing and, letting you know that my Kempo is better than whatever your art is. I don't care. So, because I train for survival. That's just me. I train for me to be able to protect my family. And in Mexico, we're not allowed to carry guns. I do have a gun in my home. We're allowed to have one low caliber gun in your house legally. I have one, but we cannot carry. So you need to be good with your hands and your feet, because that's what we have. Okay. So that being said, for me, it's way more important to learn to defend myself and to survive and to protect my family than going to the cage. I have nothing against MMA, but it's not the ultimate scenario that people have made you believe. It's not. The ultimate scenario, it's survival. The street. That's the ultimate scenario. Okay? If you live in Mexico like I do, believe me, MMA or any other art, it's not enough. Okay? Because the violence here, it's overwhelming. Okay? If you get attacked by organized crime, I don't care how bad you are in the cage. Somebody who's an apprentice in a criminal organization will kill you. Okay? I'm sorry. I have to say this. So it's not true. It's not the ultimate arena. It's not. The ultimate sports arena, maybe. Because there are other sports arenas, there are tremendous fighters out there. But I need to say this, and I need to be, precise and put my foot down. Yeah. MMA, the cage, it is not the ultimate arena. Not in any way. Okay? Frank.
And also, Frank, real quick to add in traditional martial art actually is the roots of any modern and any sport type of fight, like kickboxing, Muay Thai. Definitely, I mean, if you train in some type of martial art, a traditional martial art as not a sport, definitely is going to be a good transition to go find a sport. Sport is a sport with regulation, with rules, and very limited targets and strike, definitely. So, like you said, it's so true. It's not the most ultimate fight, but also the traditional martial art has been success. Why? Because it's the base, it's the foundation for all this new sports and type of competition fighters. So definitely the traditional martial arts, it's been successful through the years, because without then, everything that we see today will be impossible. So that's something else to add in as well. Yep.
Great. Amazing.
Yep.
Ismael, no, I love Kempo, but I just go to the floor.
Well, if you go on the floor, definitely you got ingredient in Kempo that if you study your art, definitely you can find solution to that. Absolutely. No
on the streets. Don't go to the floor.
Absolutely. You don't want to.
Oh, don't. That takes away more than what gives you. Sorry, it's a fact. Okay. Del Mountain says, Sean, many MMA fighters begin in traditional martial arts. When they transition into MMA, they use many, but not all of the techniques they learn in the traditional training arts. Okay, great. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Scott Southwell says, love you guys. Hope to be with you on the mats this year. Salute. Yes.
I hope, definitely. At some point we will. I want to go to Canada, by the way.
Oh, nice. You should. Yeah, Sean. Do you consider to be close to Hawaiian Kempo from the pit? And at the pit, we consider ourselves to be more Kaju Kempo and not regular Kempo. In your opinion, is Kempo similar? The pit is Hawaiian Kempo. Thanks so much for your input and advice. I enjoy this. All of the Kempo guys are, yes, in a way we are. But the pit has their unique and very good proposal, their uniqueness in the way they propose and they train their art. I believe that I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the founder of the pit, which is a very cool guy. I've seen his interviews and stuff. I've never met him, but his background is definitely Kaju Kempo, and he comes from a tough lineage, very tough. So he's a very tough guy, but he has changed a lot because he likes competition. The pit, that's where I believe Chuck Liddell comes from, right? So is it close? In a way it is. In a way, it is, right? We're all part of the same family.
Correct.
Okay. Cynthia says, is martial arts is respected? Yes. They all have their techniques and preparation? Yes. But Kempo is Kempo for life? Yes. Above all, the life of the person, but respect above all. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Well,
Cynthia.
Anything you want to add before we go, my friend? I think it's time to wrap up.
This time it's unbelievable. Thank you to everyone to connecting today with us. I think it's we start with one topic, but one thing linked to the other, and we can endless here. We can continue go on and on and on. And I think that's the first step to do something here with this amazing English community as we do it in Spanish as well. So thank you so much for you guys' support. We really love you. And Frank and I were talking, it's going to be rough in the Kempo community in English because, it's where American Kempo born pretty much. And many of the practitioners coming from first generation, second generation. So it's going to be a lot of debate on it, but I think it was wonderful. Thank you for you guys' opinion. I think it's great. I'm looking forward for the next one, and I can't wait, guys. Thank you so much, Frank. You're phenomenal, brother. You're amazing.
You're the man, my friend. You are the man. Thank you for this. Always learn a lot from you, my friend, and from everybody here. Thank you, everybody that was watching. We'll hope to see you soon. One last comment here.
Yes.
John Heckelman. Yes, thank you. Grandmaster Joe Heckelman, thank you so much. Of course, my Kumu, it's Kumu Cruz under Kumu Chuck Liddell. There you go. Huge thanks. Does Kempo have many different branches? Yes, it does, a lot. And if so, does it matter which I study under? I would love to continue growing. Just look for a good instructor, my friend.
That's all.
That's it. Like you have with your Kumu and all those guys. They're amazing guys, all of them. Look for a good instructor that suits your needs. That's it. Thank you for watching. Frank.
Brother, like I said, thank you so much. It was phenomenal first time. And I think that the community is getting together. I think that we're going to make that happen. God bless. We bless the Lord. Amen. So definitely something beautiful is going to come on here. Every negative, it's okay. We can embrace with positive and love. So it's not a problem. So thank you so much, Frank. I love you, brother. Thank you for the opportunity. Kenpo Zone all the way. Kempo, like she said, Kempo for life. Kempo one love. Absolutely. God bless you guys.
We love you, everybody. Take care. Maestro, thank you so much.
Un abrazo, hermano.
Bendiciones. Nos vemos. Okay, hold on. One more comment. Let's see. Ismael, rápido. Once with my brother Frank Maldonado, we fought against multiple attackers, almost 8 guys. I almost lose it when I went to the ground. Then I used just very aggressive Kempo, and finally we win. This happened in Quito in Plaza Fort. It was interesting fight. Okay, be careful, my friend. Don't engage in more interesting fights, please. Cuidado. Saludos. Gracias a todos. Y nos vemos a la próxima. Thank you. See you. Have a great weekend.
God bless you.